We've traveled with these backpacks over 26,000 miles across 3 different continents.
So we're excited to walk you through our thoughts on these bags, how they've held up over that time, our favorite features, and a couple shortcomings that are worth mentioning. Let's dive into it.
So these are the Peak Design travel backpacks in the 30-liter size. And that 30 liters is a bit misleading because it's actually 27 liters whenever it's compressed like this, and then it expands to 33 liters.
Peak Design makes a 45-liter version of these bags. We went with the 30-liter because we really wanted these to be our personal items on airplanes. We know that technically they're probably a little bit larger than what's the allowed volume on airplanes, but we've flown so many different airlines and these have always been able to pass as personal items, fit them under the seat in front of us, and it's always worked out well. We've flown Lufthansa, Avianca, United, Delta, Southwest, LATAM. I'm flying a Velo with them next week, and these have never had an issue passing as personal items on any airplanes.
So yeah, definitely do your own research with this. Look at the airlines you're going to be flying and fly with these at your own risk if you are using them for a personal item. But we haven't had any issues with them, and they've always fit in the seat in front of us. Each of these bags cost $229.95. And we know that's definitely out of the price range for some of you, but we think these bags have enough features that make it worth it for us.
When we were looking at travel backpacks, they really seemed to fall into 2 categories. There was the really techie business ones that didn't really seem to have an effective use of space. The second being rugged outdoor backpacks, which are really tailored toward mountaineering, neither of which really seemed to match our function for these bags. What really drew me to these bags was the style of them. I think they're very sleek and effective uses of space. I actually was just in the St. Louis airport and someone tapped me on the shoulder asking what backpack they was. They thought it was one of the sleekest backpacks they've ever seen. So it really validated my view that these are really clean looking backpacks.
Yeah, so essentially we were going for a travel backpack that could fit a whole bunch of stuff, but still look sleek and kind of incognito in a city.
Yeah, we didn't want to look like we were tourists with the classic big backpacking backpacks, so these really fit the bill for us.
These bags come in 3 different colors: black, which is what I have here, midnight, which is what Michael has, and they also come in a sagey gray-green color. So like we mentioned before, these bags are 27 liters whenever they're compressed and 33 liters whenever they're expanded. And the compression system on these is pretty simple. So here we have them at the 33 liter state, and then you can just zip them up. And they're smaller and more compressed now. And we found this compression system super useful whenever we use these in South America. We were able to fill these bags up at that 33 liter state and then compress them by just zipping them down to the 27 liter state. And they looked extremely small whenever we were walking onto planes. Yeah, so whenever we were searching for backpacks, we were really on the market for a backpack that had that clamshell opening and then a full capacity that we could organize ourselves. We're not really a fan of a bunch of organization already built in a backpack because we feel like we can organize it better with packing cubes.
And half the time the dividers just take up space and you really can't maximize every square inch of the bags.
Yeah, and we definitely push these things to their limit.
And to further that point, these are the only bags we brought with us to South America. So we had to fit 2 full weeks of clothes and everything else we needed for that trip inside just these backpacks. And we actually did that at the compressed 27 liter mark. So we actually had room to spare. If you're interested in everything we brought on that trip and showing exactly how much we were able to fit inside these backpacks, we'll have a video we'll link up here that showcases everything we packed for that entire South America series.
Yeah, it was a lot.
So be sure to check that out. And to further illustrate that point, we actually have packed in here at the 27 liter compressed mark, 7 full days worth of clothes packed in our own packing cubes. So Courtney designed these packing cubes and we sell them on Amazon, but they are exactly what you can fit for a full outfit of summer clothes. And we can fit all 7 days in the compressed size in these bags, which just shows you exactly how much you're able to fit inside these Peak Design travel backpacks.
All right, so let's jump into some of the features of this bag. So starting out with the zippers, these do not have YKK zippers, which is apparently very important to some people.
And a very controversial thing on the internet.
Yeah, but that was something we didn't really care about, and we think these zippers are absolutely great quality.
There's also a theft deterrent feature to these zippers where you actually thread it through this little loop here. Yeah, it's a nice feature to have. It gives you that extra peace of mind, I guess. We never really felt the need to use these, but it's good to know it's there on travel days.
There's also a luggage card holder in here. The only thing that's kind of bad about having it here is that we feel like it's a little bit too incognito, whereas if you actually lost your bag and somebody was trying to return it to you, it might be a little bit difficult to see that this is where your identification is. But if you don't feel like having a standard luggage tag on your backpack, it's nice to know that this is there, so somebody could find your name and get it back to you.
Another terrific feature that we've come to really love about these bags is the back paneling. So it's got this really neat system where you can actually stow the backpack straps inside the bag. So if you didn't want to have those out dangling, it really makes it into a nice little nugget where you don't have any straps and nothing really jangling around.
And this is nice in the case where you have to check your bag so that you don't have those straps hanging out and they could get caught on something and damage.
The bag also has on both sides these water bottle pockets, which are really nice and they actually are pretty deep. However, one thing we notice is if you really load up these bags and they're really bulging, you really can't fit big water bottles in here because some of that volume's taken up by the clothes that are bursting into that pocket. So they're really nice to have when you can use them, but sometimes your bag's just too full where you can actually even store a big bulky water bottle.
Yeah, and that might not be a problem if you're not absolutely filling these bags to capacity. But whenever we were using them in South America and we used every inch of the bags, it was nearly impossible to fit a water bottle in there. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, and another fun pocket they have on here is actually this kind of incognito hidden pocket down here for the rain cover. And it doesn't come with the rain cover. You can buy your own to put on these bags, but it's got this little magnetic pocket down here, which is a nice little secret storage compartment. I will say, even though I love magnets, they're super cool and they work, I just feel like I'm always a little nervous that this could come undone while I'm walking and all the contents in here would fall out. So I almost wish they use snaps, which are a little more tried and true. That extra peace of mind would be a little nicer.
Another pretty cool feature of these bags are these little loops they have pretty much on each surface of the exterior shell. And what's cool about these loops is they actually provide you with this nylon strap that you can use to kind of hook things onto the exterior of your backpack if you don't feel like putting it in the main volume. So for example, say you had a tripod that you wanted to strap to the outside of your back. They give you that option, which is nice whenever you're working with a smaller capacity backpack that you could stow some things on the outside too.
And another thing about these is these anchors are tough. I don't think you could rip these off if you really tried.
Yeah, and like we mentioned, it was kind of hard to fit water bottles into these side pockets whenever we had this thing fully stuffed. So it was really nice to use a little carabiner on these loops, and we were able to just hook our water bottles to the outside of the backpacks whenever they were empty so that we were hands-free.
Another feature I've really come to appreciate on these backpacks is there's a little pocket here at the top. It doesn't take up too much room, but it really does give you easy access if you want to have some documents up here, a couple things of sunscreen or small things you want to keep organized, not in the volume of your backpack. There's even an interior zipper pocket in that top pocket for a little bit more organization and security there.
Yeah, this was particularly nice whenever we had these under the seats in front of us on the airplane because we put things that we wanted to be easily accessible for the flight in this top little pocket.
Yeah, it was a lot of treats.
Yeah, mostly treats.
And another thing to note is there's handles on each side of the bag so you can pick it up from either side you want, and they're pretty darn rugged handles. So no matter where you're grabbing from, you're covered.
All right, so let's jump into the main volume of the bag here. As you can see, there's a pretty large laptop sleeve. We've used this for our MacBook Pro, which is 16 inches, and it is huge and heavy, and we've carried it with no problems with these bags. So as you can see, there's this little Velcro strap here, and then you have a place to put the full laptop, and there's also a smaller little pocket here that's useful for a Kindle, an e-reader, or an iPad, something of that sort.
And then the rest of the bag is mostly just the main volume. So if you actually expand it out, you can get pretty darn deep inside this bag. But even with a compressed, you have a good amount of volume for you to put your clothes, your packing cubes, or what have you. There are a couple mesh pockets on the inside if you have a couple of things you want to keep organized that way. So you have one big pocket on the bottom, one big pocket on the top, and both sides here actually have mesh pockets as well, which is perfect for if you want to keep smaller pieces or if you want to keep those anchor straps stored when not in use.
Yeah, another thing to note is that Peak Design has designed a couple more loops around the interior of the backpack, and these loops are meant to work with kind of the Peak Design ecosystem. We've seen that there's some camera cubes that you can buy that sort of nestle right into the interior of the backpack and hook into these loops.
And keep in mind, I did see online with the Peak Design camera cubes, they only seem to fit in the 30 liter in the fully expanded mode. So do your homework if you plan on using the Peak Design camera cubes in this bag.
Yeah, so now let's get into the durability of these bags. Honestly, we've had these bags for about a year now, and we've really put them through the ringer, and they're hardly showing any signs of wear and tear. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's one of those things you can just feel the quality. Everything here is super duper tough. We've taken these on planes, trains, automobiles, you name it, and they've held up to just about every condition you can imagine. And they just feel like they're really good quality on every component.
Yeah, so Peak Design boasts that these are weatherproof. We're not exactly sure what that means, but we have used these whenever it's been sprinkling outside. That's been totally fine. We probably wouldn't recommend using them in a full downpour, and I think Peak Design would agree. So we carry separate rain covers with us for these bags.
Yeah, these are made of a 400D nylon material, so they're very tough. They're supposed to be water resistant. It's all in all just an amazing material to make a bag out of.
Yeah, and they also hold their structure really well. This isn't full at all, but as you can see, it's really holding its structure. It's able to sit upright, and it just gives you peace of mind whenever you're trusting this bag with all of your belongings.
So one of the features that was an absolute must for us was having a hip strap on these backpacks. We've backpacked before, and we know that if you don't use a hip strap, you're going to have sore shoulders. That was an absolute must for us. In this bag, while it doesn't come with a hip strap, you have the option to buy a separate hip strap that actually threads through this back panel. And so that's what we did here. So it folds up nice and tight inside if you don't want it, which is great when you're boarding a plane and you don't want to look like you're walking around the big backpacking backpack. You can put those away. But it definitely gets the job done when you need it and you need that extra support on your hips. I will say it's not the comfiest hip strap. It's not like you'd see in a backpacking backpack where it's really padded. It's definitely thinner, more utilitarian. It actually doesn't even have buckles. It's got just a little hook and loop mechanism to go around your waist, which at first I was on the fence with, but it's actually really fun. You feel a little tactical when you put it in. I believe it costs an extra $30 some to add the hip strap to this backpack, but it's an absolute must if you're planning on using this as your main travel backpack.
Yeah, so on the 45-liter model, this hip belt comes built into the backpack, but on the 30-liter model, you have to purchase it separately. And we think it's kind of nice in the instances where you might not need a hip belt, you can always take that off. So say you just want to use this bag to walk around the city that you're staying in for the day, and you're not carrying that much, you can easily just take the hip belt off.
Or just fold the back inside. Out of sight, out of mind. Jumping into another feature of these backpacks, which was an absolute necessity for us, is the luggage pass-through.
So this one's pretty simple. Bags either have them or they don't, and it's really useful whenever you're using these bags as a personal item with a carry-on. And essentially, the bag just slides over the luggage handle, and you can carry them both around and wheel them around with you in the airport. Now, I will say I would have preferred one that actually sits upright instead of horizontal on the bag, just because whenever you have either fragile items or you're carrying a water bottle with you, oftentimes you'd probably prefer those to stay in the same position as you pack them in, but we definitely rather have it than not have it.
And if you guys can't tell, this is the Monos Carry-On Plus suitcase. We think it's the perfect carry-on luggage. We'll have a video that we'll link that'll walk through why we think this is the best carry-on luggage, so be sure to check that out if you're interested. Rolling away.
So that's our full review of the Peak Design 30-liter travel backpacks. We absolutely love these bags. We've really put them through the ringer and they've held up to everything we can throw at them. If you guys are interested in purchasing these backpacks, we'll put our affiliate link in the description box below. This really helps out our channel if you decide to purchase through this link. It's at no extra cost to you, but obviously no pressure if you're not interested in using that link.
Let us know in the comments if you guys have these bags or if there's any other questions that we can help answer. Thanks so much, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.
Wait, you want to move it? I'll do my face.